I'm Hasmutullah from GK Jain School. Today we are going to see the next part of international economics. In our previous class we have seen what is the meaning of international economics. So what does the international economic means? International economics means when there is an exchange of goods and services which is being taking place from one country to another country. Between the two countries, those kind of exchange of goods and services is termed as international economics. In our last class we have also saw the various theories like Adam Smith theory of balanced economy we have saw, where we have took example for two countries or how they are satisfying their powers of production and all those things. In today's class we are going to see the Ricardo's theory of comparative cost advantage. So, in regards to the international economics, what are the various sources or what are the various aspects or what are the various input and output we have? With the help of that, this Ricardo theory is being taking place. When the international economics is a subject matter of two countries, how the both countries involved in this the economic dealings going to get benefit. In the last theory by Adam Smith, it says that every country who is involved in the economics is having the benefit, is getting the advantages. But what based as advantage they get? Which country gets more advantage? Which country gets less advantage? What kind of advantage they get? All these things we have not seen. This Ricardo theories of comparative cost advantage will tell us that how these two countries will have a comparison, and based on the comparison we identify that which country is having the proper and efficient growth of cost. When we compare the two countries, for example India and USA, which country is having the maximum cost advantage, that is what we are going to see, right? So based on all those various aspects, this Ricardo theories of comparative cost advantage is all about. Let's start. David Ricardo is a British economist, has written a book called Principle of Political Economy and Taxation. In his book of Political Economy and Taxation, he deals about the various input and output of economics, which is dealing with the day-to-day life aspect. How an individual used to earn the money, how a firm is earning that money, how this money is being utilized as a taxation purpose, as a taxation policy, as a taxation input and output, and what kind of measurement is being taking place, what kind of output or input is being taking place for the purpose of proper and balanced economic growth. In an economy, we are dealing with the various output and input. In a simple way, economics is all about helping the nation to have the proper establishment and to have the proper development in the various fields. In certain areas, economics is all about reducing the unemployment level. That's what David Ricardo's principles says. According to him, in his book, he realized that economics is a political science where we learn about the many political values, many scientific values, many monetary values with regards to have the national interest. To protect the national, to develop the national, to have the growth of a nation, you need to understand the political economy and the taxation. If you want to have a country or a nation in a perfect and disciplined manner, there should be a proper rules and regulation for the taxation. The company real treasure, if you take example of a company, the real treasure of a company is a profit. But if you take example of a nation, the real treasure of a nation is tax. So, according to David Ricardo, when you talk about economics, it is very necessary that the earning should be there, and this earning should be in the purpose that the national interest should be built up. For that reason, he has written the book called Principle of Political Economy and Taxation. His theory later refined by J.S. Mills, Marshall and Townsend. His theory was good, but based on his theory, lot of confusion, lot of criticism were there. That's the reason later on many economics like J.S. Mills, like Marshall, Alfred Marshall, like Towson, and many on, they have refined his definition. They have refined many values. Okay. What his theory about the international economics is, a country can gain from a trade when it produces relatively lower cost. According to him, if you want to have a country to get developed, or if you are talking about the development of a country, or if you are talking about a country has to get a gain from doing a trade, there should be a two relative output. There should be a two relative output, that is production and the distribution. When there is a production, there should be a relatively at lower cost. For example, you are a manufacturer of any kind of product. For example, take a fan. When a company is a manufacturing of a fan, it should make very simple that the manufacturing cost of the fan should be very less. What will have an impact on it? Because there is a lot of distribution charges, lot of other charges it will be included, means the production cost will increase like anything. So when there is a lower cost in any kind of product, what happens? A country, a particular country is going to get a gain, is going to get a profit. The production and the export of a good is an advantage factor for any country. When there is an extra production, there is an extra export. When there is an export plus production taking place, what happens? It is a good for any country. It is a benefit for any country. So, according to Ricardo theories, he says that a country can get a profit, a country can get a benefit only when the production of any kind of goods is being taking place in a country should be at a lower cost. The production and the export of goods should be proper. What will happen? It will have the proper growth of an economy. The country is going to get benefit. That was he said that there is a two aspect, there is a two goods. One production of the goods and there is a export of a good. Both the thing if takes simultaneously, what happens? There is a growth for a country. There is a country enjoys the maximum benefit. You can see this equation. When there is a plus production, when there is a extra production and extra export, what happens? It is the advantage. The cost advantage is there. When there is a less production and less export, what happens? There is a less disadvantage. So what is the best point over here is that when there is a lot of production, lot of export being taking place, the country is expecting, the country is getting the maximum level of advantage of cost. But in the same way, when there is a less production and less export thing, what happens? They are not going to get the loss, but they are getting the less disadvantage. So this is the best part of it. So when a country is having any kind of trade, and this trade where the production rate, the production value or the production cost is less, what will happen? That country is going to enjoy the maximum profit. This is what the David Ricardo says. This Ricardo theory has some of the assumptions. Let's see one by one. Two nations with two commodities. In Adam Smith formula also, Adam Smith theory also, we have seen that there should be at least two countries and there should be at least two products, because we are dealing with the international boundaries. When you are dealing with the international trade, there must be a two countries. That's the reason two nations should be there and there should be a two commodities, so that you can have a comparative. That's what we are doing now. Comparison we are doing. Next, labor is the only factors of production. Here also, the labor, apart from the land, capital, organization, the four factors, land, labor, capital, organization. In this four factor, we are just taking the labor. Labor is the only factors of production that is being taken by David Ricardo for his theory of comparative cost advantage. Labors are equally efficient. And according to David Ricardo, every labor whether I am dealing with USA or Brazil and my worker is Indian worker, the Indian worker, the Brazil worker, the USA worker, all the worker are equally efficient, equally talented, equally skilled. This is what this point says. I am having a proper contract, a proper aspect with regards to the various input and output. What happened here? The laborers everywhere, whether from India or from Brazil or from the USA or from Russia, wherever the international trade I am having a link with, what will happen? All are equally sufficient, all are equally talented, all are equally skilled, all are equally manageable to do any kind of task. Labor are mobile with the within country, immobile between the countries. What is the concept? That when you talk about the labors are very efficiently can be used when it is the home country. When you are doing the internal trade, you can utilize your labor for all those kind of works that you want to utilize. Mobilization of a workers can be done, mobilization of a laborers can be done in an internal trade, but when you talk about the international trade, the mobilization of labor is impossible. Fifth point, no barriers in fixed cost. No barriers in foreign trade. And there is a next point, there is a no barriers in fixed cost and there is a no barriers in the foreign trade. When you talk about the foreign trade, there should be no kind of any kind of problem. Barriers, troubles. No troubles at all you can face when you are saying the Ricardo theory. The Ricardo theory is all about where it shows that there is no tension, there is no problem, there is no trouble in the foreign trade. Next point, no exchange in technology and production cost. There is a no change, no exchange of any kind of technology. The technology will remain the same whether it's part of Indian company, whether it's part of any foreign country. There should be no change in the production cost also. If the mobile industry, it is set up in USA, it is the production amount comes to 1 lakh rupees means in US brand, if US branch it is 1 lakh rupees means Indian branch also should have 1 lakh rupees as a production cost. So there is a no change in production cost as well as no change in technology. Next, perfect competition. And here what does it mean? There is a perfect competition where the price will be fixed. It will not be variable. From one country to another, it is not going to be changeable. Perfect competition. Then full employment. The best part of the David Ricardo theory is that he is the advocate of full employment. According to him, there is a full employment. Every person who is involved between these two countries, they are dealing with the same kind of work. They are fully employed. No unemployment issue is there. And the last, no government intervention, because they are at the international level, they are dealing with the international thing, the export and import are being taken as the international standards. What happened? There is no government intervention, whether an Indian government or whether any other government with any other country's government where we are having a dealings. There is no intervention by any government. But there will be intervention by the WTO, World Trade Organization, IBRD, or even can be by the IMF, International Monetary Fund. Those people can have intervention, those can design the guidelines and all. But if you try to break any kind of law, any kind of policies, or any citizen amendment that you take, or any kind of argument you do or misadjustment you do with any kind of any country, then the government will have an intervention. Okay, so these are some of the assumptions with regards to David Ricardo cost advantage theory. Let's move on. See, we have took an example of comparative cost advantage where we have took two countries, India and America. We have took two product, cloth and wheat. So as the first point says, what the first point says, that
subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.